All right, let's see. Okay, yeah, we're rolling. Okay, so let's see, get this right. So I should welcome you guys to the podcast because you're the first, right? Because the podcast is going to be called Pigeon Conspiracy.
Okay.
And it's a kind of a joke back to the '80s because some friends of mine had a little fanzine called The Pigeon Conspiracy. And but then I thought there was this great prank this guy pulled a few years ago where he did Birds Aren't Real. And
do
you remember
the pigeons? Yeah, man. They
and like
charge on power poles.
Yes,
yeah,
right.
On, man.
And then he eventually revealed the goof or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I thought that it's always good to, because it sort of represents for me like there's more behind the story and maybe don't take things right where it is. So. But anyway, I'm James, and then we've got Connor and we got Brennan.
Yep.
And these guys came by the house and they wanted to talk to me about the Book of Mormon, and I said sure, but I want to talk to you about my beliefs, which are probably in contradiction with you. But what I really want to do is talk about our commonalities, not our differences. So the purpose of this podcast was to outline our differences, but then, let's see what happens, right?
Yeah.
And if you need to get like a phone or anything.
Yeah, I'm going to have to text these people real quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
So keep calling us.
And so that's the purpose. And so I was just letting everybody kind of, and we're going to do this for about 28 minutes because I think that's when the memory card runs out.
Yeah. That's why I make this text fast.
Just play by the game, don't make the rules. So.
Well, so hit me with your beliefs. I think I got everything in my notes there. First podcast, differences, so we can know the similarities, ethical and civil discourse. Yeah, I got it all. I hit my stuff. So hit me. So normally you guys would come by and you would tell me or somebody like what you wanted to say, and that's what I'm super curious about to start with.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's like if it's our first interaction with something, what is our first message maybe to that person?
What's the message? How do you reach out? Like, because I'm operating under the assumption that you're going door to door to spread a message that you believe in and that you think is going to be helpful for others.
Yes.
Right. And so you're going door to door to be good. Right. So yeah. So how do you do it?
It's a lot. It's a whole process. It's a pretty complex game, you could call it, because it depends on the person, maybe the atmosphere, maybe what they're struggling with, how could our message help them.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot that plays into it. But I guess the thing I love to talk about the most is probably the Book of Mormon, and because that is like in terms of Christianity, that's kind of an like out of the box maybe kind of thing we have, because we say it's another testament of Jesus Christ, and it's something that can help us know that He is our Savior and Redeemer. And so that's probably where, if we had to start anywhere, is a good place to start is with just the Book of Mormon itself.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think I have that much to add on. Like, whenever we do find people to talk to, we tried to, kind of like what he was saying, we call it just teaching to their needs. So we're just trying to see where they're at in their own faith or own circumstances and trying to share a message based off of that. But yeah, typically we would bring up something like the Book of Mormon, or like we just call them restored truths. And so it's stuff that typically isn't found in Christianity, but it's stuff we believe that has been restored, like through Joseph Smith or just throughout time since the time of Joseph Smith.
Yeah.
Well, so that brings up a question for me, and we talked a little bit about it just before we turned the cameras on. So there's a difference then between in the Abrahamic religions, so Judaism and Christianity or Islam. I guess in the subset of Christianity, Mormonism would be found because there is a belief in Jesus. But then there are obviously differences from what would be traditional Christianity thought of from a couple thousand years ago to today. And so you're saying, if I'm understanding you, that the Book of Mormon has a message that's unique and separate and different from Christianity.
I wouldn't say maybe not. Maybe it's unique. I wouldn't say maybe separate.
Okay.
Our church does claim we are a Christian faith.
Right.
We are a Christian faith, and I guess like with that is like maybe this will help to like why we share the Book of Mormon. So quick, it's because if the Book of Mormon's true, then the church is true. But if the Book of Mormon's false and man-made, well then so's the church. So it makes it pretty black and white. If you come to know the Book of Mormon's true, then you come to know that the church is true.
Right.
We view it as that when Jesus Christ was on the earth, he taught his gospel, he lived that life, and he rose on the third day. And he's our Savior now because of that. And we view it as his apostles had to continue with that message and building up and establishing the church. That was their command. We see historically that they were killed. Peter was crucified, Simon was stoned, John was sent to an island, and Paul was beheaded in Rome. So we see that the church leaders, the early Christian church, they were killed. They died. We view that as if you kill the leadership of the church, you also kill God's access over maybe communicating with the church and helping them. And so we view that as like the priesthood authority was lost. Priesthood authority being God's way of communicating with his children. It's something he gives, he bestows. And then God and Jesus Christ had to wait until a time was ready where they could restore things. And so that's the message of our church, is that things were lost and things fell away, and that Joseph Smith came to restore them. If you want to know that, here's the Book of Mormon.
So, I'm asking a question. I'm not offering like a rebuttal. I'll do that later. I'll share my ideas later. But the early priests, the early leaders, were a conduit between the people and God, and because they were killed, the communication between God and people was diminished or lost. And right, and then in Jesus' return to America later, which forgive me, I'm not. It's been a while since I have read the Book of Mormon.
Sure.
It's been about 20 years, and I also read the Bible. But Jesus came to America in the 19th century, or
so that's like with the first vision. Yes, he did.
Yes, right. So that would have been in early 1800s.
Yeah.
And
when
so
Joseph Smith had his first vision.
Okay, got it. So I'm just so everybody understands that, because that would be a difference between. There may be Christians watching, and that may be a difference between Christians because they don't think that Jesus has come back yet.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Just sort of restating what you said and making sure I understood it.
Yes.
You're right. Okay. Yeah. So then, when you guys spread this message, what's in the message? That's the core thing. So that's nice to have that foundation. But then, like, what is? I know I don't mean to be like glib or flip about this, but what does Mormonism do for you? Right? Right. I mean, I'm joking when I say that, but like, obviously, you guys believe that this is something that can help people. Otherwise, you wouldn't, be doing the work, right? So, and I believe that like this podcast is something that can help people, that we can talk about things, right? Okay. So we put our energies into it. So what are those ideas, and how can they help people?
Well, the first thing that pops in my mind is something that actually Elder Brooke just mentioned, but talking about authority, because since we believe that the priesthood authority to act in God's name was lost from the earth for a time, and I guess let me go back a little bit. So when Jesus Christ was like setting apart his apostles to go and teach and baptize all nations in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, he gave them that authority to do that at the time. And basically he says that they'll have like authority to bind things on earth that would also be bound in heaven, and loose things on earth that would also be loosed in heaven. And so if you don't have that necessary authority to do those things, you can maybe bind or loose things on earth, but it wouldn't have validity in heaven either. We believe that that second part is very, very important for the afterlife. And so that's why we think it's so important that authority needs to be on the earth in order for that, I guess, connection between heaven and earth to be solidified.
And that authority can help people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How does it help people?
The authority?
Like, what are the tangible ways?
That's a really good question right there.
Well, thank you. I'm here to try to ask good questions.
Yeah, that's good. I'll make a good discussion. So how I would see authority helping someone is, it's not authority as the way we kind of see it with like that strong leader figure, but viewed it more as like someone who can greater serve. Jesus Christ had the most authority on anyone on the planet. We would say that because he's the perfect Son of God. What he did with his life was all service. And so we believe if someone has authority, they should use that for the betterment of others.
Through service.
Through service, yeah. I think service is a powerful thing we have for mortality to do.
I think when we come back after we both talk about our worldview, that's going to be a key point where I think we have things in common.
Yeah.
Right.
I think service is. Yeah. I mean, who doesn't feel good after doing something good?
I don't know. Sociopaths, psychopaths.
Yeah.
I mean, right? There are biologically
There's
people.
biological people.
But I get what you're saying.
It's like Abraham Lincoln. He said, "When I do good, I feel good."
Yes,
Kind of.
generally speaking, I think that we are coded, and I'll get into my ideas later, but why, but I think we're coded to be cooperative and to help one another. Yeah, so, right. So.
Okay, yeah. 2 questions. How does the Book of Mormon help us? How does this restored authority help us? I'll let the Book of Mormon answer that one. This is a quote from the introduction. So if you want to know about the Book of Mormon, there you go. Introduction. What it is, what it does for you. Okay, Joseph Smith said in his own quote, "I told the brethren that the Book of Mormon was the most correct of any book on earth and the keystone of our religion, and a man would get nearer to God by abiding by its precepts than by any other book." So Christianity has a message. Jesus Christ was born. Jesus Christ suffered and died for us, and Jesus Christ rose on the 3rd day. Everything else is an appendage. It's just a branch from that main core message. The Book of Mormon teaches that powerfully to help people come to know that. Okay, what does authority do? I would say the authority builds us a stronger, we call it a covenant relationship. Covenant being like a 2-way promise. This is how I kind of had it explained and I see it. If you're on a cruise ship, you have the passengers that go and you have the crew members. If you're a crew member, you're part of that covenant relationship. It's your responsibility to help everyone arrive safely. And so when we view a covenant relationship, we get baptized at 8. That's the first covenant we make. And I like to see it as you start a relationship. You start holding his hand. And as it deepens, it gets stronger and stronger. And so that's what I can see authority doing, is it gives you that unique opportunity and unique relationship.
So the authority, so using your cruise ship analogy, the ship would be the earth going through the universe, or it would be like the vessel upon which all of humanity travels.
Yeah, you could call it the earth even.
And right, and so the crew members have an obligation, like a moral obligation, to help the passengers. And you guys would be the crew members, and then the people that are not yet Mormon would be the passengers.
Yeah, you could say, and they can freely come join us too.
Right. But regardless of whether the passengers convert, you would still be there to help them.
Oh, 100%.
Right,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. So it's an unconditional relationship, right?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so then it sounds like, now I have a question.
Okay.
And then I think maybe just in the interest of time, because we're going to try to do this in 20 minutes. I didn't look at the clock. I don't know. I wasn't watching the video. But no one's going to want to watch a movie-length feature of just the 3 of us talking, probably. But I hope they do, right?
Yeah.
Because I hope they see how we're getting along.
Yeah.
Just even here, right? And so my question then is, it sounds to me like, and so this is confirm this if I'm understanding.
Okay.
The backbone, the foundation, the bedrock upon which you guys find service to help other people and do the things that you do comes from the Word of God. It comes from this a belief in a God, right? And because of that belief, which it sounds like is you believe has been sovereignly sort of set up like this, it's like legit. That is the foundation upon which you go and do good works. Like that's the authority is a big part. You've learned how to be moral. You have learned how to be a crew member on the ship, right? And I assume elders in the church, or there's some hierarchy or whatever that somebody had to teach you about the things that you did. But it all is rooted upon belief in God, and that God is helps you. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, there's a scripture that actually pops into my mind from the Book of
Yeah.
Mormon.
Oh yeah, hit me with it.
It's in the Book of Mosiah. It's in chapter 2, and it's verse 17. And right now, I mean, to give just a little bit of context, at the time, like there's this king, and King Benjamin, he's just talking to his people pretty much and giving a big sermon. And in verse 17, I guess, around this verse. He says, like, I'm your king, but I've also been serving you guys as well. Like, I've been among you and helping you do the things that you need to do. And in verse 17, he says, and behold, I tell you these things, that you may learn wisdom, that you may learn that when you're in the service of your fellow beings, you're only in the service of your God. And so I think that, like, has a big tie to what you're saying. So, like, when we try and do service for other people, not only are we just serving them out of, like a moral obligation or something like that, but we're also serving them because we know that it also serves the person that we worship as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we touched a little bit about this when I brought up, like, I shared some of the thoughts earlier about one of the differences between Christianity is for salvation, you have to do acts of service. Like, it's a vital part of the meaning of life for being a Mormon, versus just simply saying, I accept Christ in my heart, as a Christian might. So that's a notable difference, I guess, between you guys and Christianity.
Yeah, we viewed it like this. We try to do service with no thought of reward. So I'm not going to go serve, so I'm going to say, like, all right,
no quid pro quo.
Yeah, this is not going to give me some brownie points
What
here.
was that movie? Oh, it was what was the movie with Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins, Quid Pro Quo Clarice? You know what I'm talking about?
What did it come out?
That sounds very familiar, but I have no idea.
A million years before you guys were
Before
born.
one, I'm not it.
It was Hannibal, but it was Silence of the Lambs.
Okay,
Yes,
I know
right.
Silence of the
Okay,
Lambs.
yes,
Yeah,
right.
okay.
So there's no
That's
quid
classic.
pro quo. You're just going out and doing it.
Yeah, this is what, like, this.
Which, by the way, is another thing I agree with.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So,
Like, my why is because, well, I've been given so much. Like, I should give back to the world. Like, it's Christmas season, and this is the greatest gift God could give Christianity, and it's His Son.
Right.
So I think Christmas has come a lot into what am I getting? It's a getting mindset.
Yeah.
But if you can shift that to a giving mindset, like, I've been given a lot, so I want to give.
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah. I mean, you go on the.
You're preaching to the choir on that.
Yeah, I think we all get that one.
Yeah.
You turn on
Love's
the
a
TV.
verb.
Yeah. But I think these two scriptures too might also.
Okay, share them, and then I'll if it's okay, then I'll offer a
please.
rebuttal.
Yeah,
Okay,
please do. Okay, it says, "For behold, the Spirit of Christ is given to every man, that he may know good from evil. Wherefore I show unto you the way to judge for everything which inviteth to do good, and to persuade to believe in Christ is sent forth by the power and gift of Christ. Wherefore you may know with a perfect knowledge it is of God. Whatsoever thing persuadeth men to do evil, and believe not in Christ, and deny him, and serve not God, then you may know with a perfect knowledge it is of the devil. And after this doth the devil work, for he persuadeth no man to do good, no, not one. Neither do his angels, neither do they who subject themselves unto him." And so that's when I like it. We've been giving this gift to be able to tell if something's good or bad.
Yeah. Well, so let me tell you what I think.
100%.
You don't need any of it. You can do all that without any belief in the supernatural. And I know that might sound crazy, but I'll explain why. And the cool thing is, because I want to get to the parts that we connect on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's this old joke that atheists always use, and it's a little. It's funny, but at the same time, it's. I think that it's a Socratic joke, and so sometimes Socratic unsolicited advice can be considered criticism, right? And unsolicited, and so even sometimes when you're doing good, it can ruffle feathers,
Right.
But I'm going to operate on the assumption, since you guys came to me, you're going to share ideas that I might be resistant to, or not like, or not agree with for a variety of reasons. So when I offer this joke, which is a very mild joke, please keep in mind that I want you to think about it. It is Socratic, but I'm not trying to insult anybody. Sometimes being Socratic can be insulting. You guys are already atheists to every other religion on the planet except the one that you believe in. And I don't know if that's something you've ever thought about before. Because so one of the things we kind of have in common is that neither of us are Jainists, neither of us are Christians, neither of us are Muslim, neither of us are Jews. So, in keeping in the spirit, and I say this with some humor, but keeping in the spirit of the things that we have in common, we actually have some level of atheism in common. You already reject all other religious beliefs except this one. And so, and I mean that as a joke, but I also mean it to like, why are you rejecting those? And why would one religion somehow have an answer when all your, by the way, your competitors also believe they're right? Right. So is there a way to ferret that out? And I believe there is.
Yeah.
Okay. And so here's the thing: you guys are making a claim that a God exists. What we have come to learn through humanity, particularly the scientific revolution about 500 years ago, is that any claim requires burden of proof.
Yeah.
Right. You would, and so the proof that you've cited does not meet the scientific burden of proof. Now, you don't want to get. One of the problems is dogma hits atheists, liberals, conservatives, believers alike. You can, and you got to avoid that. If you get to the right answer, but you can't show your work, or it's because you guessed, does it count? Right? So when I say burden of proof, there are people that treat science as if it's a religion. So I think we should define science. Because here's the thing, I'm going to say something to you that's going to blow your mind. I will absolutely believe every single thing you say, provided that you can meet the burden of proof.
Okay.
And the burden of proof is as defined by James Randi's website, which I know we don't have time to get into today, but he actually has a list, so I don't have to create it myself. James Randi spent most of his life, he was a sleight of hand magician, and he spent a really nice guy too. He spent his life sort of showcasing people who made claims. Like, you know, there was a show called That's Incredible. You'll never remember this because it was the 70s or something. But there was this guy that claimed he had telekinesis and he could move phone book pages. What he actually did is he had trained himself to breathe in such a way that he could blow the phone book pages over. So when Randy put the phone book in a sealed, clear container, he couldn't do that little puff that he had, right? Stuff like that. So bear in mind that I am open-minded. Now also bear in mind that this is not the first conversation I've had with deists or theists. And so no one has yet made those claims of burden of proof. But I want to define science. Science is not something you believe in. Science does not give a darn about anybody. And so science is especially hard science. Physics, you know, Ohm's law, Pascal's law, laws of thermodynamics. They exist whether humanity exists or not. If the universe exists, right?
Yeah.
So we know that, and I think we can call that objective reality. But we also have subjective reality. That, like, I have a subjective reality, and I'm subject to bias, and I'm subject to logical fallacy, and I'm subject to a wide variety of things. I could be coerced through bullying or fear or trickery. Right. But then we have this really interesting thing between the two, and I used to call it shared reality. But I recently read Nexus by the Israeli philosopher, historian Yuval Noah Harari, and he calls it intersubjective reality. And I like his word better than mine, so I'm going to just use his.
Okay.
But I got to cite him because, So I had already had the idea, but I like his language better. Yeah. So subjective reality, my personal experience, right? It's your subjective reality, just your personal experience.
Yeah.
But intersubjective reality is all of our experiences.
Okay.
And so sometimes we have a shared narrative. You guys have a shared narrative in the Book of Mormon. Where an area that we have a shared narrative in is we believe in, I assume you guys use U.S. currency, and we believe in that. But it's not real if you think about it. Like, so if the zombie apocalypse happened tomorrow, all the digital money would be gone, and then any cash would just start fires.
Wouldn't mean anything.
Yeah, it wouldn't mean anything, right? So, but because we believe in that intersubjective reality, and because we use it, it's something that but it's not objective. It doesn't meet the true definition of what objective reality is. And in that vein, no God claim does too, whether it's yours or anybody else's. So there's where we differ. I believe that we can do those acts of service just because we can do those acts of service. And I believe that for the exact same reasons that you guys believe, that we can gain immense satisfaction. In fact, I think the meaning of life comes from it.
Yes.
I believe that, and I'm a layperson, right? I'm not an expert. Just this guy, right? That you know lives in this trailer park in Blacksburg, Virginia. We're broadcasting live from the single wide.
Oh yeah.
That's a
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
I believe that this was coded through evolution. So
Okay.
I don't know if you guys are new Earth creationists and you think the world is 6,000 to 10,000 years old, or if you think that the universe is 13.72 billion years old. Either way, I trust carbon dating, and I trust that we've mapped the human genome, and that a banana and I share 60% of the same genetic material, and that a little over 3 million years ago, Australopithecus, the Lucy fossil, the famous Lucy, was an upright walking biped that, that we didn't, we know now that through fossil record and DNA mapping and genome mapping that we didn't just linearly come here. We competed with Neanderthals and Denisovians and Homo habilis and Homo erectus, and there was overlap and stuff. And I think that during that time, we figured out through some selfish genes and random good luck through evolution, through natural selection, that if we cooperated and we weren't jerks to each other, we could get along. We could benefit. And you think about this brain thing, and it's like this is just electrified meat. Isn't that right? Yeah. And I realized that deists and theists believe that it was created, as opposed to evolved. Yeah. Right. But I'm also here to tell you something really cool that you guys might find interesting. If I believe that if anybody tells you they know how the universe began, they're misinformed or lying, because we don't know. The truth is, we have a working hypothesis in the Big Bang. Same with how life began. So the planet's 4.5 billion years ago. We know that 3.8 billion years ago, single cell life began in the ocean, and worked our way up. And that fossil behind you is Orthoceras, and that was about 350 million years ago. Yeah, it's kind of
before my time.
A little before my time too. I'm older than you, and that's still before my time. And we thanks to people like Neil Shubin, who is great. I recommend this. You're in a Fish. It's a great documentary, and it's on PBS. It's a 3-part documentary. We know that the transition between sea and land happened about 350, 400 million years ago. We were able to find the fossil. It's called Tiktaalik. So I believe that through all of this, we have gotten to the point where here we are, the last surviving members of our genus. The Neanderthals are dead, the Denisovians dead, everything's just us. And here we are in the 21st century talking about these things. And so that's my but here, what are the common things? So I'm just going to look and see how much time we have left.
Yeah, please.
And so, I don't know, it's still recording. And it's just 27 minutes, so I don't know, it's still recording. So but what I want to talk about is, so does that? Do you have questions about what I shared?
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah. No. Yeah. That'll.
Okay. Right. Okay. So, and obviously I've thought about this before, so I can deliver it extemporaneously and blah 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 blah. But I think that two things. This dialogue is fantastic because here we are in complete disagreement about how the universe began. Whether there's a God or not, and we're not stabbing each other. Yeah. Right. And I made that joke the other day about morality. We seem to both have a sense of morality. Yeah. And my joke was, I'm doing all the raping and murdering I want, which is none. Right. And so are you. Yeah. Right.
We're doing good.
Yeah. And so the first part is the discourse is nonviolent, and we're just sitting down and sharing ideas. Yeah. And I love that. Yeah. And then the second part is we can have that discourse in a way and continue to explore. I know we're running out of time now, but here you guys told me what you thought. I told you what you thought, and then we have the second part is the things that we align on, which the biggest thing I think we align on is acts of service. Yeah. So I have 3 children, and one of the greatest things that I've ever done is raise kids, and that involves. A couple months ago, my youngest had way too much sugar and vomited, and it was vomit everywhere. And this might sound weird. It was the middle of the night, and he came and got me, and I helped him. I got him a bowl, cleaned him up, and then the thing about vomit is you can't let it sit. You gotta right. So I got a bowl, and it was on the wall. He made it to the bathroom because he did get in there, but it was sort of everywhere. And as I was cleaning up that vomit, I believe in these sort of microdoses of joy. These little joyous things that happen. And this is the middle of the night, and I'm pretty exhausted, but I actually had a little microdose of joy because my son is safe.
Yeah.
He's feeling better. I'm helping him. And cleaning up his vomit is a beautiful thing. It's really nice. Yeah. I am privileged to be able to do that. And but my job as a father is to put myself out of a job. Using the example of an active service, because there's a lot of ways you can do active service. I just picked fatherhood in the interest of time.
Yeah,
right? Yeah. I think that my job is to put myself out of a job, which is to raise children, to exist after I die. I mean, I think that's also the point of evolution. Evolution requires sexual reproduction, and that we stay alive long enough to get the offspring to be able to reproduce. But I want so much more for my children. Right? I want them to be happy, and I want them to. And so my job, I think, just comes down to two things: critical thinking and empathy. So if they can think pretty clearly and they're kind, then I've done my job. And they have a baseline of knowledge, and they have some understanding of how to reason through things, and they're kind to other people, or especially people they may not agree with.
Right. And
so an act of service there's a million other acts of service.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I just picked that up. But you can also measure your success, because about 6 months ago, my middle boy did something interesting. He had diarrhea in the middle of the night, and probably also ate something greasy. And but anyway, I heard my bedroom's in the back, and then their bedrooms are in this end, and so I heard the back door open. There was a creak, and I usually sleep like I'm in a coma, but that is the kind of thing. Is why is the back door opening at 2 a.m.?
Right.
Yeah.
And so I pop up, and it's actually Eli, and he's taking his underwear and his pants, and he's throwing them on the porch. And I said, "Hey, man, what's up?" And he said, "Well, I had diarrhea, couldn't quite make it to the toilet, and he had cleaned everything up in the bathroom himself, and didn't want to just throw his poopy pants in the washer, and so threw them outside to deal with it later. And what's interesting is when he was younger, when he got sick, like there was norovirus once, he watched me clean things up, and now he has learned how to clean things up, and that behavior is modeled. Yeah, because you can tell your kids one thing: don't be selfish, share. But if you are selfish and you don't share, right? If you guys want to come back, it would be the next interesting video would be talking about contemporary times and equity and sharing, because that's something I'd love to talk about. And we can shut the cameras down, and then we can see if you guys want to do this again. Because how does being a Mormon in the 21st century, how do you navigate acts of service in a very conflicted society?
Oh yeah.
Ooh,
right.
Yeah, that's a good. That'd be fun.
Where rage is being sold on social media, right?
Yeah.
So all right. Well, so should we wrap it up now?
Yeah, like in this, I think something you're gonna like is the idea of joy. That's our purpose. Like our purpose here is to find joy. I think service is one of the access to that joy. And so
we're in agreement on that.
A lot of cool thoughts came to my mind, but I don't know how much time we have.
Well, I guess we should probably wrap up since we're about 30 minutes. But we can do this in multiple parts.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'll shut the cameras down. I'll get my calendar out, and we can schedule another time.
Yeah.
We might even do it when the boys are here. You can meet my kids.
Yeah, that'd be good fun.
Yeah. We'll have to do it on maybe a weekend or whatever. So, yeah.
So I guess we'll catch you next time.
Yes.
I'm
going to go shut this down. And I think I did mention none of this is going to be edited. That way it's just straight. That way no one can say, oh, it's been edited.
Straight off the dome.
Right, exactly. That was great. All right, I'm shutting it down.
Sweet.
This is just great. Just great.
We'll catch you next time.
This one may have stopped. It looks like this one kept going.